G'day, Finru here. How you doing? Welcome along to Homebrew Wednesday number 14. Now, I have done this video probably 6 times, and I've had more of my fill of honey ale that I'm going to show you again. And now I'm having to do this video on my camera, no, on my phone, because my camera keeps cutting out after a minute. So I wanted to put a video out today because I really wanted to show you my honey ale. So cheers, welcome along. If you're new here and you're into home brewing, this is the place to come, where I talk about all sorts of stuff and put you onto other homebrew channels, and it's a good little community. So cheers. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I had a couple. Cheers. So that there is actually Old Peculiar. Saw them in the shop today for $5 each, so I grabbed a couple of cans. So I've been waiting for my phone to charge up so I can get on and do a video. So all good. So let's have a look at this honey ale that I made called Old Finn. This is the whole Old Finn 2022, named after my old golden retriever, Finn. Let's have a look what we got.
Hi, Ninja here from
Give it a bit of a generous pour.
This property sits right at the top of the Cashmere Hills with magnificent views.
Talking about pours.
An in-ground saltwater heated
Here comes Baxter.
This is the place to be this summer with your family.
See, I've just given it an aggressive pour here. Let's let it settle down. But just put it there like that in front of my phone. Oh, Baxter's come along to say g'day to everybody. There we go. G'day, boy. How you doing? Hey? Come along to say hello. Right, so let's get on with it. Homebrew Wednesday number 14. So this is it. I just kegged it yesterday, and that's my honey ale, and it came in at 5.6%, I think it was. So it was my usual pale ale, the Morrigan's Banshee bitter, but I added half a kg of honey to it, as I said last week. So the honey was, as I said, was multiflora with manuka. So I doubt there's a lot of manuka in it. It's just there's a bit in there. So I'm very happy with the way it turned out. It finished down at 10.06, which is which is very low. And I would like to remedy that and try and get that up a little bit to sort of 10.8, 10.10. I've got a couple of ideas that I might bring to the table when I brew it again, and I will be brewing it again because it is very nice. So cheers. Cheers. And let's have a look at this. There's a very, very slight honey aroma coming off it. It's not like really, really sweet. It's just a wee bit of honey aroma there. No hops. Very low in hops. I only about 15 IBUs. Only put 10 grams in. You leave my wallet alone. My wallet's just full. Yeah, and then I put another 20 in at 20 minutes. I'm just off Fuggles. So very, very mild hop. So I thought the earthiness of the Fuggles would sort of mix, but can't really taste the Fuggles. But it'll be there. So let's have a wee sip. Again.
Is eerily
cheers.
Similar to the argy-bargy over the capital gains tax.
Jacinda Ardern was a great fan of capital gains tax. Michael Cullen came down with his report, said yes, it should come.
I can taste the honey just nicely. Just nicely I can taste it. It's like, it's not like really full-on honey sweetness. You don't want that in a beer, but I think that if you want a honey ale, you want to have a nice ale with a nice malt bill and just a slight that honeyness coming through. I can taste it. I can taste it really nicely, and it's good. The only thing I would say about it is it's a wee bit dry because it'll finish at 10.06. But having said that, it's very, very nice, and this is not going to last long in the keg. I'm telling you that now. I've just kegged it yesterday, so it's not quite. It's not carved up, but bit of an aggressive pour, and I did a little bit of shaking the keg around just to try and sort of force carbonate it. And today, you know, it's more than drink. It's beautiful, actually. I guess because I stuck to my first thing was I stuck to my my grain bill for this beer as the my pale ale. Just the pale ale, the Morgan's Bench bitter, and once you get a nice malt bill, that's a simple pale. You can do anything you want with it. You can add plenty of hops. You know, I could take this grain bill, and I could make. Crikey, I tell you what, I reckon I could make any kind of pale, double pale, you know, double IPA, even. Geez, well, I tell you what, it would be fun to really push it to a hazy, because it is such a nice. Will I be arty and say it's a nice canvas? It is. It's just a really nice malt bill. I'll go over it for you in case you missed it. It's very simple. Sometimes simple is better. I've always said that, and I've got some things to say about that. 3.5 kg of pale malt, American or Marisol, it doesn't matter. 350 grams of light crystal, 100 grams of brown malt. Why would you put 100 grams? Well, because it just does the job. And 200 grams of wheat malt. I always put wheat malt in there and brown malt because it just gives my beer something special, and I can't put my finger on what it does, and so I always do it. And in my dark beers, I always put 200 grams of roasted wheat. So it's just kind of like my style. It's just what I do, and I'm really happy with it. This beer will be brewed again. I may use a different yeast. I use the US05. And I probably would like to try this honey ale, although it's very good, but it's very dry. I would like to try another yeast, and I've got one in mind, which is M15, which is a yeast that struggles to go down below 10-20. So with the honey in it, I'm wondering if it might go down to about 10, 15, 10, 12 sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Don't want it to go down to 10.06 because it's too. I don't even know if it's too dry. I think this is going to be fabulous. In a couple of days or next week, I'll show you. It'll be clear. I'll clear it out. Right? Hey, Baxter. Hey? We'll clear it out. This time next week it should be crystal and bright, crystally bright, and it's great. So if anyone wants, can't find my recipe for this honey ale, and I put the honey in half a kg at 5 minutes at the end of the boil. And I've heard a lot of things about different great ideas, but just as a home brewer for me, I really wanted to put it in the boil, and I thought 5 minutes was a good place, and it turns out that actually, yes, it is. It is a nice place to put it. If I put it straight into the fermenter, would I get more honey taste? I don't know, I haven't done it. Possibly, but I can still smell the honey and I can still taste the honey. If someone said, if I said to someone here, here's try my honey ale, they would drink it, they would go, I can taste the honey, and that's what you want, isn't it? You know what I mean? So that's good. That's been a really, really good experiment, and I will be brewing that again. And tomorrow, so that's the honey ale. Oh, fantastic. So tomorrow, I'm going to be brewing, hopefully, my health is okay, which I'm hoping it is. I'm just going to do the tire bust again. So it's probably, you might think, a bit boring. I personally don't find it boring brewing the same brews over and over again, because actually it's kind of the way that I roll. I remember reading an article in the newspaper probably about 15 years ago, and I was brewing at the time. The head brewer from Guinness came over, and he said that his his advice to home brewers that really wanted to do a good, to really get on top of their brew was to brew one style of beer. To pick a style of beer you want, whether it's a stout, an IPA, a bitter, whatever it is, just say to yourself, this is the style I like, this is the beer that I like, and I want to brew it to the best of my ability. And so he said, get started on it, get some recipes, work on it, start making it, and only adjust one thing at a time. Whether it's doing a starter, altering one of the malts, changing your hops, changing your yeast, just one thing at a time, brew after brew, week after week, month after month, year after year, until you've got a beautiful beer that you've done really well, that you've really studied and you've really got it. And I really like that, and that's kind of something that I've stuck to in a long time, for many years, and I've ended up with two beers. I've ended up with a pale that I can do anything with, and I've ended up with a dark, which is the Tired Bastard. So I've got, and I can play with those as much as I want, but at the moment the recipes that I've got with the pale and with the Tired Bastard, my dark mild, they are solid. They are, I love them. My neighbour loves them, my friends love them, I brew them, and yeah, it's good beer. I'd come over to my tap, pour a pint. Thank you so much for coming. Really good. Got my bar here, and it's good beer. So I'm really happy with the way that my brews are going, and it's only got that way from asking questions, entering into competitions, and getting some terrible results. You know, in the early days, some terrible results, and then one day I got a third place. I thought, and I was so happy, and so from there, and then I ended up getting a gold medal, 47 points out of 50, which is huge.
But James, the funny thing for me was,
took a long time, sticking with the same beer, time after time, throwing it into competition, taking the feedback, and it's cruel. Barely drinkable was one of the comments I had. Plus a list of everything from diacetyl, from oxidation to you name it. It was all there. It was all there, right? And I was getting quite, you know what I mean? But anyway, went one by one, went down on the different issues that I had, and said, okay, so what's happening with oxidation? Why am I getting oxidation in my beer? This is probably 15 years ago. Why did I think I got 8 out of 50. 8 barely drinkable. But I thought I was going to rule the world with this beer. I was brought down to reality big time. Now, so it's just why did I have oxidation? And I read something and it said smooth process, and I've said this before, from vessel to vessel, and that means from every vessel at every point in your brewery.
Well, I remember where I was when
right up to bottling or kegging, right?
Yeah, I do.
And then you look on the internet with some fine brewers, and they say, "Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's okay there because it'll get back. That's all right there. Don't worry." No.
And as you say, initially it was about her being
smooth process from vessel to vessel. Cover all your bases.
So yeah, and I guess
all your bases need to be covered with it. Oxidation can happen in my book, can happen at any point. And if I'm wrong, it doesn't matter because I've covered all the bases, and I'm not going to get oxidation in my beer.
Well, the day she died.
Now, he says hoping, but I've entered quite a lot of competitions over the years. I've had no oxidation in my beer. But it's not just oxidation, it's everything from DMS is another issue that I had, and I've said this before as well. DMS, boil for longer. Oh, Finru, how can you say that? David Heath said on one of his things the other day, a couple of months ago, he said, "Oh, what did he say? 30 minutes is enough." Fine. Boil for 30 minutes. But I'm going to boil for 80 because I know that I had DMS issues from my grains that I get here in New Zealand from Gladfields, who have state-of-the-art malting, what do you call them, malting things, state-of-the-art, and yet I was still getting DMS at a 1 hour boil. Change it to 80 minutes, no DMS. Put them in the competition, no DMS. So it's the old thing, isn't it? As long as you you can listen to whoever you like on the internet, but you have to do it yourself and do your own experiments. And that's the thing about brewing the same beer every time. And if you want to, if your favorite beer is a stout, and you say, okay, I'm going to brew a stout, it's going to be at 5%, and I'm going to brew that, and then when I think it's really good, then I'm going to put it in a BJCS competition, and I'm going to get the feedback from them, and I'm going to look down the list and pick out all the faults that they put, tick them off. I'm going to correct them, because you can correct them quite easily just by adjusting your brew process. And that's what I'm going to do. And so you keep brewing the same beer again and again and again, and then the next year when the brew competition comes up again, with all the things that you've done, and then you put it in the competition again, it comes back and it's only got 1 or 2 faults, but before it had 6 faults, and then you work on those 2 faults, and eventually you start to get a medal. And it's not the medal that's important, it's the fact that you've learned how to brew decent beer. So end of the lesson. Cheers, guys. Cheers. I hope you're brewing really well. I'm sure you are, because I know a lot of the guys around the YouTube community are brewing some really good beers. I've been watching quite a few videos to try and catch up. Sometimes I get a bit behind, but I always try and catch up on people brewing beer, and a few beer reviews as well.
Dr. Specs is your one-stop shop for all your prescription lenses, including progressive and bifocal.
That's going to be a beautiful beer. And once again, you know, it's just the same old pale grain bill with the same hops, but just brewed with a bit of honey in it. So you can twist it around like that. And I could make a really hoppy beer from that. Just use the same grain bill and just sort of throw in heaps of hops right through the whole thing, dry hop it, and it's not my thing. Cheers. Now, I've just been reading the latest magazine here. This is a free magazine, and I think that might be backwards. It doesn't matter, but this is called In Pursuit of Hoppiness is the name of the magazine, and it's a New Zealand magazine, comes out quarterly, and it's really good. It's free, and look, here's a behemoth. That's really good artwork, right? Here's a fella on the cover, and that I would say is King Richard Emerson. He's the man. He's been brewing beer down at Dunedin for many years, taken over by the big breweries, but still maintaining the quality of craft breweries. But there was and this just reading before, and in fact I read this article here, which says, I think it's backwards on the thing, a beer for your best friend. And so my mates at Wigan Brewery have made a beer for dogs, so it's not obviously alcoholic. But you can go into the bar with your dog, order a pint of, I don't know, Mustang Pale Ale, and a pint for your dog. There's dog juice, dog beer. Yeah, it's just basically broth, right? They say they've brewed it, but I don't know. I have to ask them about that. I went to the brewery the other day. It's going great. The brewery's going great. The back on top back on top. Really good. Always doing something to look at the market and do something a little bit different. So I'm really proud of them as my local craft brewery. Really good, and they really looked after me when I needed somewhere to go. As a lot of you know, that I was sick for a long time, and I needed to get into the community and do some voluntary work and get myself out of my bed. With chronic fatigue and stuff, and I asked them and they said yes, and I blundered my way through all sorts of issues. But at the end of the day, it was absolutely fantastic. And I don't go there at the moment, but it was, for I think 3 years I was there, just learning the ropes, basically cleaning up, and they are messy bastards. Make no mistake. Okay, so now the thing I wanted to get to on this, and that's a good article about Paul and the guys, about that at Wigan Brew with the dog stuff. But there was an article here about the price of beer. Pints getting pricey. Now, they're blaming the war in the Ukraine, Russia-Ukraine, special military, special military exercise. And they're saying that although New Zealand barley, gets grown here and malted here, we've got Gladfields here, which is absolutely. Apparently, when it goes up overseas, because Ukraine and Russia apparently big barley growers. Apparently, when it goes up overseas, it goes up here. I don't quite understand why. I just had a quick read about it. So that's an interesting thing. So the whole thing about beer is that I would have thought it was hops that was gonna spin the prices up. But yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. So barley is going up in price, everything's going up in price, beer is going up in price. And there's another article in this magazine about brewing your own beer. And we'll be saying that for a long time. I mean, as much as we love our craft breweries, it's the price. We want to have, beer on tap. Well, I do. I love having beer on tap. I didn't used to. I used to have bottle, all the rest of it. But homebrewers can really, really do a really good job of brewing beer. Just trying to find this article, but basically it said that the only way that we're going to be able to afford to drink quality beer is to brew our own beer, and make no mistake about it. It is very possible to brew very, very high quality beer. People talk about standard of beer. There's a chip in that glass. You see that? High quality, just really, really good beer. I mean, homebrew beer used to be like homebrew beer. It used to taste like homebrew beer, look like homebrew beer, and you'd accept it as homebrew beer. But now, homebrew beer is as good, if not, it's as good. At the end of the day, it can be better. But brewing beer is a very, very satisfying hobby and pastime. It's something that I have loved for many years. And after I got sick, I was not going to let it go. I did not want to let go of my brewing because it was just so good for me. Because I really related to brewing beer. I really loved the whole concept of it, the science, the craft, the flavour, the community, everything about it. I just loved it. Since I've been on YouTube, I've met many people, and I have quite a few friends that I would call friends, and I really enjoy that so much. But tomorrow, just moving on, I'm starting to waffle because I had a few of these because I keep having trouble with my camera, so I downed a few of these doing the intro, But the honey ale, very good. So I hope you got something out of this. If you are a budding home brewer and you want to get into the craft, you think, yeah, that's something I could do, please like and subscribe. Subscribe to my channel, come along and watch what I've got to say. If you've got some things that you might want me to cover in other videos, ask me in the comments. I'm more than happy to. And if you're worried about your water profile over wherever you live, I'm really happy. I've done it many times. Gone on the internet and looked at it. I remember Dublin was one place that one guy was worried about. He didn't know about water chemistry, so I just went online and went over to Dublin, had a look at the water supply. I find it very interesting. And then I just put I found his water supply, the details of it, put it into my the software to figure out how I was going to do it, and what it needed, what it didn't need it for the water, and simple. It was ended up being like 4 grams of this and 5 grams of that. It's not that hard. You get a bit of a feel for it. But I enjoy doing that. So if there's any questions that you guys have about trying to improve the quality of your beer, come and see me. Ask me a question. I'm more than happy to help out, and I'm more than happy to meet all you fellas. So here's my grains. For tomorrow, the Tired Bastard's going down again because it's just my brew. It's what I do. Tired Bastard and the Pale Ale. So cheers, everyone. Thanks for watching. You take care. Cheers.
One look at what's for sale and what it's worth at oneroof.co.nz.
Is
Honey
Christchurch
owl.
the
Yeah,
best
see you
place
next
to
time,
live the
guys.
Kiwi dream? From